Howdy, howdy, my loyal friends and followers. And I say loyal because I've been sitting on that interstate for 2 weeks. That's where I left you last, when I was parked on what I believe was Interstate 24. I did not bring my tripod up here, so this might get a little bit wobbly. I'm trying to hold it. I am currently sitting on a plot of land which is on the top of a hill. You can see the old house to the back. That is a stone house. I don't know exactly when it was built. I do plan to find out, because I don't know if it's like part of the homeowner's property or if that's the home that sold off the land around it so that all these other houses could be built, and they just let this small parcel from the fence over be part of the homeowners association. There's a couple of signs as you come up, and it's quite a walk from my residence to the steps to get up this hill. And I'll circle around and show you the wonderful view I'm looking at. But about the house, it's probably built sometime between the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, or shortly thereafter. I will call my landlord and see if she knows anything. I've been Googling it and I haven't found anything. I guess I could check property records. But like I say, I am living in an area now that has a homeowners association. The signs say residents and invited guests are allowed on this property owned by the homeowners association. Since I live here, I am definitely a resident. I am not a homeowner. But I'm going to do a slow pan over some of the houses here and then over towards the Blue Ridge Mountains, which 30 miles from here is the beginning of Skyline Drive, which is the northern end of Shenandoah National Park. I can probably see the park, and that's probably why it's so dark at night, because the park doesn't have much light in it. But I'll do a slow scan here. I won't talk since the shotgun mic is facing me. Hopefully it won't be too much wind. I won't go too fast so you don't get dizzy. You'll see I'm on a very big hill. And the sun is to my back. I should do these maybe in the morning. Apparently I am facing east and my back is to the west. I did film a video a couple of nights ago. It was 30 minutes long. It took forever to upload, but I thought I would not post that one quite yet. May not post it at all, because I want to clarify some of the things I said in that, and you haven't even heard what I said, so I want to do them better in this one. So let me start out with an update. I have started deleting all of the playlists on the channel that have existed up to this point, and I am coming up with 3 new ones. They will be health vlogs, travel vlogs, and my big leap. I've got an eyelash or something right on the camera here, a piece of dust that looked like it was right in my face. I don't think you're seeing it. And I have a little bit of bad news. I was walking a trail at a park the other day, listening to a YouTube video, and the guy said something about a chart. So I picked up my phone out of my pocket, dropped it on the blacktop trail, and it kind of smashed one of the 4 lenses on the rear-facing camera. So I noticed there's now a cloud in this, well, I can't do it here, in the lower right-hand portion of photos or videos I take with the rear-facing camera. So obviously this is the front-facing camera. But anyway, what I want you to do with those 3 playlists is I want you to decide where this channel will go in a month from now. I will put the videos in either travel, health, or my big leap, which is basically my move, leaving the job, moving here, trying to concentrate on YouTube full-time, which I will talk about that in just a moment. And then whichever playlist has the most views at the end of a month, let's say the end of May, it's I think the 20th of April today, so that'll give us just over a month. Then I will decide what to concentrate on because I'm afraid that I've confused the algorithm for YouTube right now with having a bunch of travel vlogs with some at the beginning and end of my channel with some health stuff in the middle. So I don't know if the algorithm thinks I'm a health channel or a travel vlogger. But I do appreciate those of you that have stuck with me, and if you are new to the channel, there should be a little red, white, and blue circle. I think it's in this corner. If not, look in this one. I get confused when I'm looking at myself as to what corner it will actually appear in. I will say right now, let's see if I can see the time. It is 5:31 on April 20th. I'm going to grab a drink real quick here. Better set it up here so I don't have to bend over so far. This is a little wooden bench. I don't want to spill the drink either. 5:31 on Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. And I am in Warrenton, Virginia. So I am no longer on Interstate 24. I have been here about 2 weeks. I think I arrived Thursday 2 weeks ago, and then and the wind is picking up. I hope the shotgun mic is picking up me, not the wind. But I arrived on Thursday, which I think was about the 6th of April. I photographed the wedding in Texas on the 2nd of April. If you need any photography, please be sure to let me know. I don't know that that's going to become my career again, but I still have the equipment. I'm still a decent photographer, even though I kind of lost my edge over the last 2 years. All the photos I took at the last 2 events did not turn out perfectly. Most of them can be fixed to where they're nice, or I took enough of that particular scene that if 1 or 2 are bad, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the bride and the groom will have a very nice wedding photography to look at once I get it to them. I arrived here on Thursday. I visited my parents sometime Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And then Sunday, 2 weeks ago, I left for Fredericksburg, which is it's actually 34 miles and 40 some minutes southeast of where I'm at. And my parents are 38 miles and about 50 minutes to the northwest. So actually I found that it was quicker to go to Fredericksburg than it was to go visit my parents. The interesting thing about going to Fredericksburg is I do not have to get on an interstate to go from my apartment to my friend's apartment. I was house sitting a little cat named Ginger. My friend was on spring break. She's a teacher in one of the public school systems up here. And she was going to visit a retired teacher or friend or something like that in the Tampa area. I think there were 2 of them. So she was gone till Thursday. She left the apartment about 3:00 a.m. on that Monday. So I went down Sunday night so I'd be there before she left. And then I came back to my apartment Monday night because between the tree pollen up here moving and a cat, my allergies were going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yesterday I bought some local raw honey from a local, what's it called, apiary, something. Anyway, a farm that raises bees. Apparently local honey is supposed to have the pollen in it, the local pollen, which kind of acts as an antihistamine, so you are less sensitive to the irritants of the pollen when it gets stuck up in your nasal passages. I'm still taking my antihistamine, and I am feeling better today. Of course, it rained most of the day yesterday, so I think that clears the pollen. It washes it all away, just like it washes the dirt off your car, which cars here have been yellow because the pollen is so thick. Even on the news, they'll say that tree pollen is the big villain this time of year. And you'll see, when I turn the camera around, you can see that most things are greening up. A lot of the flowers have already bloomed and gone away. In fact, I wanted to do this video across about half a mile from here, where there's a beautiful white and pink dogwood I could have stood in front of. I think they're up on a hill also, so I don't know if I'll be able to. It may be like the house. I'll be a ways from them and they'll be in the background. Maybe tomorrow's video will be done there It got to 60 degrees today and it's dry. So I'm out here in my, what I'm gonna use is my new YouTube shirt. I bought this in Fredericksburg at the Goodwill store. They had dozens, well, about 50 of them. I only bought one because I wanted to see what it looked like on camera, and it is a little bit, if I have too much of me in it, I look like the blue blob, like maybe the blueberry lady in Willy Wonka. But I am gonna start working on the weight loss again. But that's one thing I want to talk to you about. Health, the channel, jobs, etc. I'm trying to remember exactly how I got onto this journey to end up here in Warrenton. I know it was part of the Big Leap, which I planned under Dr. Hardy's suggestions. And the ultimate goal was to be up here closer to my parents and to hopefully have a lower cost of living, as the rent was going up in Texas. And as I looked on the website last night, so is the electricity prices. So in that area, I made a very good move, since my utilities are included here with the rent, and the rent here is now lower than the rent I would have been paying in Texas. Plus, I would have had utilities. Plus, gas is cheaper there, but food is kind of more expensive. I've been able to find some very reasonable price groceries up here. And the tax is lower, but then there's income tax. I don't know that personal property tax will matter to me. I guess it will on the car when I register it here. But that's really neither here nor there. What I want to say is I did have an interview yesterday for the town here at their aquatic and recreation facility. I was notified when I was in Fredericksburg last week that they wanted to interview me. Of course, I had stopped by the location as I went to Fredericksburg to see if an interview was in the works, or if I needed to apply for a part-time job and then work up to the full-time job. And the next day, they decided that they would schedule an interview. I don't know if they only interviewed me or if there were a bunch of people to be interviewed. At the end of the interview, the Parks Department director said there were a couple other applications they're looking at. He didn't say interviewing. He said they were still looking at, or still considering, or something along those lines. So I don't know if I'm the only one they've interviewed or the only one they're going to interview. But he also said it would be 7 to 10 days, which I took as business days, which are Monday to Friday. Even though it's a park department, the director probably doesn't work a whole lot of weekends. So bottom line, up to 2 more weeks before I hear anything. But getting ready for the interview, I had to start thinking about again whether I really wanted to go back to work full-time, or whether I want to make YouTube a full-time job and maybe work somewhere part-time, or if I just want to work somewhere part-time and forget about YouTube. I don't think that's an option, so let's keep it with the work part-time and do YouTube part-time. YouTube does not require 40 hours a week. I did it while I was working 40 hours a week with the city of Fort Worth. I can do it if I'm working here for the town of Warrenton 40 hours a week. I don't know if I can do it as good or as fast. I can probably do it as good, but I would probably have 1 video a week instead of 2 or 3 or however many. I'm going to really try to do 1 a day for the next, till I hear from them. And then I'll probably have another 2 to 3 weeks as they do background checks, because he says the human resources department in this town is 1 person. One person. And I actually did notice that the interview was set up through a Parks Department employee, not an email from the Human Resources Department. Here's a little caveat I wasn't aware of when I applied. I got a little propeller plane flying over. You might be able to hear that. I don't see it yet, but I can hear it. It may not actually come over. It might just be going behind me. I don't know. I'm 45 miles away from where I did the videos at the Planet Fitness over Christmas, but we're still kind of on the direct path to that big airport. So hearing planes is not uncommon here. It's not quite as common as when you're standing at the end of the runway. And I'm sure there are some smaller airfields around here that these smaller planes take off and land at. I just haven't found them yet. Okay, so back to the job interview. After I was asked last week, when I was available That's not a tough question. I just moved here. I'm available pretty much whenever you're available. So anyway, we chose yesterday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then about 10:30 in the morning, I got an email from the same lady asking if I come at 1:30 instead of 2. I don't know if that was a test to see if I was flexible or if something actually happened where they needed to change it. So the director actually told me that his schedule had changed. He had to pick up his children, which he hadn't planned on originally, so he needed to leave a little bit earlier. So I'm going to assume that that's why they changed the interview. Either way, I was flexible. It looked good on my part that I was able to get there a half an hour early. I had my suit on. I had not procrastinated the night before, so I was basically ready. When I found the email only like an hour before that, I think it was 12:45 and they wanted me there at 1:30. I was getting ready to jump in the shower, so I took a quick shower, got dressed, got down there. I had wanted to stop and maybe pick up some cough drops or hard candies. I had a few still left, just in case I got coughing in the interview. But I had bought some bottled flavored sparkling water at Sam's when I was up with my parents last, so I just put a few of those in the fridge the night before. I took one of those and sipped on it during the interview. I noticed that neither of them had anything to drink, but of course they were doing less talking than I was, so I hope that didn't affect me. I will say that I'm more excited about the job now than I was prior to the interview. After meeting the director and the assistant director, I think I would be a very, very good fit at that facility. Oh, and I guess I kind of changed tracks in there when the plane came over. At first, when I applied for the job, I thought it was to be the director of this particular aquatic and recreation facility. And that turns out to kind of be true, but what I didn't realize was that the Parks Department is based at that facility, so the director and the assistant director are there, and this is one of, I think, 5 full-time positions in the whole Parks Department in this town. So I will be part of the management team of the Parks Department, as well as kind of default being the manager at this one facility. I will be in charge of hiring the front desk staff and the managers on duty, training them, supervising them, and supervising the facilities that are rented in other parks like ball fields and pavilions, picnic areas, and I think there's some beach volleyball courts, so that's right up my alley. So anyway, if I decide I want to go back to work full-time, I think that would be the best job. Right down the hill about half a mile here, there's a convenience store out of a large regional brand. It's not as big of a store as Buc-ee's in Texas, but it's a bigger company. They have stores in, let me see if I get this right, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, I believe. I think they have 300 or 400 stores altogether. And the funny thing is, they're hiring supervisors at a higher starting rate than I made for the city of Fort Worth. The lowest rate I would make at the town of Warrenton is slightly higher than I ended at with the city of Fort Worth, and the benefits are equivalent. One benefit you get for working for the town anywhere is you get a membership at this aquatic and recreation facility, which appears to be the only public indoor hot tub in this whole area. I still have my 24-hour fitness membership. I have to renew that for the next year by around May 1st, and I won't necessarily know if I have this job by then or not. Fortunately, it's only $100 a year, but the nearest one of those is halfway between here and my parents' house, so approximately 20 miles away, when I had about 5 within 20 miles in Fort Worth. Of course, the one here, the one that I have access to, there is a second one closer to the District of Columbia. Haven't been to that one. Oh, something's going on downtown. Well, it's not downtown, it's the highway, but I hear all the sirens going off. Hopefully everyone's all right. I'm sorry, I'm not in the camera. If I buy a membership here, it's about $30 a month, which is not unreasonable. The one with 24-hour fitness, I think I'm paying about $7 a month. So that's a big difference. I would probably keep that one too, just because if I ever don't live in this area, they have They're not nationwide. Well, I guess they are kind of nationwide now. There's several states that they don't have any in. They have 2 in this state. I think there's some in Florida and New York on the East Coast. And then you got to get to about Nashville to pick them up again. And then they're heavy west of Nashville. But there's like none in Missouri. There's nothing in Branson. But anyway, probably where I would end up later in life, I would want to have access to their gyms if they're still. Oh, there goes something else. That sounds like a fire truck. I didn't realize I can actually see the highway from here. Oh, that's a big fire truck. Yeah, it's kind of heading out of town. I can't see where, but there's probably a wreck between here and the next major town. Well, major town. It is interesting that this is the county seat of Fauquier County. When I lived in Fort Worth, it was the county seat of Tarrant County. And when I lived in Farmville, Virginia, it was the county seat of Prince Edward County. I think the city of Fairfax is the county seat of Fairfax County. And I did live there for a little while as a young child, like prior to going to school. But I grew up in an area called Chantilly. So ever since I got out of college, it looks like I've been living in the county seats, which 2 of them have been very small towns. The estimated population here is about 10,000, but it's very rich in Civil War history, Revolutionary War history, and it's basically horse country right now. So maybe I can develop a horse photography business. I met a young man at church the first weekend I was here who's also a gig person like me. He's a musician. I'm not a musician, but I do thrive in the gig environment. But it's feast or famine income-wise, and if I do decide to go whole hog on YouTube, it'll be another year before I make any real income. So my question is, do I live off of my savings for a year, which is kind of sort of what I had planned to do, but I didn't plan on inflation being so high and prices going up quite so quickly, even though the move here did not really increase my monthly expenses. So that's a good thing. In fact, it may have reduced them. Of course, with parents and siblings being close by, that's opportunities for birthday parties and wedding anniversaries and eating dinner with family and extended family. So my food bill could actually be a little bit less, or I may be called on to run some of those parties once in a while and provide the food. We'll see. In fact, yesterday was my parents', I think, 64th anniversary, so congratulations to them. Dad sent us a picture of them out at dinner to prove he took her out. We all knew he would, but I guess he felt the need to show us. They've had a good marriage and a good life, and I'm glad I'm up in this area to spend time with them. I kind of sort of feel like they would feel more comfortable if I was in a full-time job with benefits like the city. I mentioned the gas station and then quickly departed. I could be a Baptist preacher. Read the scripture and from there depart. But anyway, I mentioned the convenience store. The brand is called Sheetz, and that's with a Z on the end instead of an S, because that's the owner's name. And it is still a family-owned company, and actually it's rated in the 100 best companies to work for in the nation. I think by Forbes, maybe, or Business Magazine or something. But anyway, starting pay for a supervisor is $18.50 an hour. And then you get an extra $1.50 if you work from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. With the city of Fort Worth, we got an extra 75 cents if we worked overnight. Got 50 cents on the shift I was on, and that still is less than the starting pay for a supervisor with a gas station, a convenience store. And no, I am not below working at a convenience store. I think that's a full-time, and they have a full slew of benefits. So like I say, I'm going to try to give you a video every day going forward. I have to kind of wrap this up so I can load it up before my accountability Zoom call tonight with people all over the world. I've missed them for about a month, so I will be eager to get back on. But I will kind of give you an update on what I'm deciding. I need some time. I'm going to try to rearrange the living room and the kitchen furniture this evening. So I guess you could say I'm working 3 to 11 today, like I did when I was full-time. Because all I've done so far today really is take some thank you notes to the staff at the park that did the interview and arranged it. And I've done a lot of walking. I've already hit my 6,000 steps for the day. So now it's time to get dinner and get on that call and get motivated and try to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. I have a lot of options, so it's not bad, but I am in a bit of a quandary as to how to proceed because the economy and life is so uncertain right at the moment. It gives me a little bit of uncertainty. I do have access to my landlord's farm, or limited access, I should say at this point, until she moves up here, or comes up here for the summer, which will be middle of next month, but I do hope to help them make that self-sufficient. And I'd almost rather do that than work a full-time job because I think growing our own food and having water and shelter in an area that we can either share with the neighbors or defend, whichever we decide to do, would be more important in a year than having a full-time job. Because food may become very difficult to obtain. So if you're still watching, please be sure to prepare the best way you feel for your area. And don't count on the grocery stores, don't count on the banks. Make sure you have what you need where you can get to it safely. Because we all need to survive this next storm that's coming in. Being healthy will be the best way to do it. So I will get into some more health in the next few days. Have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye.